Well, hello everyone, my name is Zwigo and welcome back to something different actually. Today we will be doing a 12-man collab on Pokemon Fire Red. But first of all I have to thank Christian Pokemon Champion for bringing us all together and making this challenge possible. And also a big thank you to all of the other YouTubers for being in this video. Well, now you're probably wondering, what is this all about? How does it actually work? So we'll be going through every gym with a new team, with each of us taking a gym down. The Elite Four and post game are going to be divided into two parts as well, so let's get right into the rules of this thing. Every challenger can only do one part of the game. For example, Chaotic Meatball can only go as far as the first gym. So the person before you is going to give you some Pokemon. They can be hacked in, it can be anything, to try and screw you over, and you have to follow their rules as well. So if for example they say you have to use a level 5 Magikarp, you can't evolve it and you have to level it up, you have to do that. Another rule that they could add in is you can't capture any more Pokemon, so that you would have to work with the Pokemon that you get. It all depends on how much the person before you wants to screw you over basically. The other rules are pretty standard. You can't use any items in battle unless told so. Held items and items outside of battle are allowed. You can't use any glitches, and HM slaves will be allowed in this challenge as well. And now let's get into the contestants of this video. Number 1, Chaotic Meatball.
What is up guys, Chaotic Meatball here, and thank you so much Zwigo for having such a fantastic piece of meat such as myself to join you on this adventure.
Number 2, T-yong.
Hey guys, what's up? T-yong here. Can't figure out what else to say, so subscribe.
Number 3 is myself. What's up guys? Number 4 is Plunker Boy 900.
Hey guys, my name's Plunker Boy 900. Britain's third favourite challenge runner. Oh wait, what's that? Fourth? Oh, fourth favourite challenge runner.
Number 5 is Coach Max.
Hey y'all, I'm Coach Max, and I probably got invited into this collab on accident. We're just gonna roll with it.
Number 6 is Lusterpurgepink.
What's up guys, it's Lusterpurgepink here, and contrary to popular belief, I am not an 11-year-old boy.
At number 7 we have the Honest Pokemon Trainer.
Hello? Yeah, he's here. Hang on. HPT! HPT!
What?
Phone call.
Hang on. Yeah, hello. What? Collab. Sign me up.
Our number 8 for today is the almighty CPC, Christian Pokemon Champion.
Hi, I'm Christian Pokemon Champion. I still exist.
Number 9 is Bonslyjuice.
What's up, YouTube? My name is Gray, my channel's name is Bonslyjuice, and thank you for having me, Christian.
Number 10 is the Breph.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's the Breph, and I'm only really here because Christian promised me free beer if I came and recorded a part for him. So thanks for having me, Christian, and I expect the crate by Thursday.
At number 11 we have Aarantula.
The name's Aarantula. I'm here to give you a show to remember, and thanks to my fellow Christian for having me.
And last but not least, R9 Beats.
Every goddamn time, man. Are you serious? Are you goddamn serious? You can't answer the phone? Some people just better off dead. Hey, how can I help you? R9 here. Am I busy? Yeah, I can't really say that I'm busy right now, but just chilling my dead channel here. You want to do a collab? Okay, now we're talking. Yeah, I can definitely free up some time on my hands. I can definitely free up some time. Sounds good.
So with that intro out of the way, let's start the madness.
So, I'm starting off thanks to a random number generator telling us our parts, and I'll be having to choose from one of 3 random starters. However, I'm going to be making sure we start this runoff in pure style. As the 12 of us embark on this journey, we'll make sure to take down our rival YouTube, as we will defeat him and then gain the algorithm, and it will flow through our veins. Right? Well, I certainly hope so. Anyway, after having Professor Oak drag me by the ear back to his lab so he can give me some sort of defense mechanism against YouTube, it's time to see what I'll be able to use in this section. Well, Ekans isn't good for Brock. Swineup could be useful since it gets Powder Snow at level 10, but Cacnea. Absorb at level 5 will allow me to destroy Brock pretty easily. So I chose Cacnea and named it Chaotic as a memory piece for whatever I decide to give T-yong for the next section. YouTube, of course, gets Charmander, so I'm walled pretty hard as Poison Sting is my only competent move to use against him. Luckily, I get the poison on the second turn, but of course, Charmander gets a crit, nullifying my chances of victory. I would reset for that, but I am feeling really confident in my newfound prickly friend. However, I know it won't be able to handle Viridian Forest very effectively with these moves, so I got him up to level 9 before entering to at least give myself a fighting chance of growth. However, this doesn't bode well in the first trainer of the forest, so I decided, hey, what's a little more grinding and hurt? So I trekked to level 11, finally getting the boredom to hit and just fight the optional rival battle. Of course, Charmander ends me, yet again, with a critical hit. Am I just not destined to win? Are any of us destined to win, or is this just a sick game that YouTube is trying to bring us through? Dangling the carrot in front of us as we keep grasping, believing that one day we will be successful. Nah, that's just a bunch of BS, I'm just making it up. I forced my way through Viridian Forest and finally arrived in Pewter City, the home of Brock and his destruction. The camper in his gym was the first to feel Cacnea's wrath, receiving a one-shot on this Geodude and his Sandshrew being KO'd in 2 hits before I moved to Brock himself. And of course, he was aghast at my expert skills of type effectiveness, almost as much as Hop would be in Sword and Shield, except with actual nuance and not being a total idiot about it. Both Geodude and Onix were one-shots with Absorb, allowing me to finish this section at level 15. Very nice, now to go to the Pokemon Center and ruin T-yong's chances of winning. Oh, the voiceover's still rolling.
Hey, what's up guys, T-yong here with my part of this huge challenge collab video that we're doing. I am number 2 for this challenge, so it looks like I'm going to be taking on Misty, and I'm going to see what Chaotic Meatball has left for me. Honestly, I have no idea what I have at this point, so let's go ahead and open our party, and oh wow, okay. Looks like we are left with a level 4 Wynot that is only at level 4 and has absolutely no good moves. We also have a Ditto to work with that is level 13, but of course the only move it knows is Transform, and that means it's going to be a very long grind. Of course, none of these Pokemon have actual attacking moves, so we do have to grind up a considerable amount to get through Rock Tunnel and take on Misty. Wynot does not have any attacking moves like I said earlier, but I did figure out if we just run out of PP and you struggle, that is a very viable way to level up. Kakuna and Metapod have a very low encounter rate in the Viridian Forest, but eventually we do end up finding enough and actually getting the struggle strategy to work. Once I actually have access to struggle, I end up taking on the trainers east of Pewter City. It goes pretty well, but we do have to go through a lot of money to use potions that keep healing up Wynot. Once I finally reach level 15, we have access to Counter and Mirror Coat, which are actual moves that could actually do damage. Of course, the only battle worth talking about in Rock Tunnel is the Super Nerd, and I really have a tough time getting past Grimer. It takes me literally forever, but I end up taking out Grimer, and next up is Coughing. I'm getting uncomfortably low here on HP, so I have to be careful. Long story short, it doesn't end up going my way, and my Ditto's already fainted, and I just end up losing. All the way on my 4th attempt, I get a little bit more lucky. I lead off with Ditto and then transform into his Grimer, so I try to do as much damage as I can with Ditto, as Wynot is really our main attacker. It takes a while, but eventually I do take out Grimer. Next up is Voltorb at level 12, and I just end up going for Poison Gas poisoning Voltorb because we were out of pound PP. Surprisingly enough, we actually end up living as Voltorb just stops attacking us and goes down to poison. Eventually I do run out of PP, and I end up using Struggle on Coughing a couple times, getting his HP down super low as Wynot is able to come in and finish it off.
On our way through, though, we took the Helix fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what we took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Yes, this is actually recorded for this. This isn't just them taking a clip from I'm here, okay?
Once we arrive in Cerulean City, I end up challenging Misty right away. We do have pretty good moves with Counter and Mirror Coat, so I think that's going to be enough to take on Misty. If I manage to beat Misty without going north to grind, it's going to be really good for us because then we won't have to take on our rival, and that's going to be Oswego's job. Misty leads off with her level 18 Staryu, and I go with my level 18 Ditto. Of course, I end up going for Transform as Staryu ends up going for Harden, and I hit it with a Tackle and then Water Pulse and figure out that Water Pulse is just the better option here. Now, because I did transform into Staryu and I have its moveset, I have access to Recover, together, and it just ends up being a long, drawn-out battle that I eventually end up losing. Unfortunately, we end up losing Ditto, but we still have Why Not in the back. I end up going for Mirko here, as Staryu actually ends up going for Water Pulse, and I get the KO, which is really nice. Our last Pokemon is Starmie at level 21, and I end up barely surviving a Water Pulse as I end up going for Mirko, taking it out and defeating Misty. This was literally my first attempt, and Mirko was a definite lifesaver, because if we did not have access to Mirko or counter, we would definitely be in trouble. Well, now that I beat Misty, the only thing to do is give Zwigo a really bad team. Before I actually end up giving Zwigo a bad team, just to mess with his money management, I end up selling everything I own, and then I buy all antidotes with the money. The only thing this does is gives Zwigo a harder challenge, and I definitely know he could do it. Well, I hope at least, or this video's over. I ended up being pretty mean to Zwigo because I did give him a Smeargle with Explosion, Self-Destruct, Memento, Baton Pass, a Magikarp with Splash and Tackle, and a Abra with only Teleport. Smeargle is just a basic ticking time bomb. A Magikarp obviously is a Magikarp, and we have this Abra that only knows Teleport, so I hope you have fun with this, Zwigo. Good luck, dude. And good luck everyone else as well.
Yo, what is up guys, Zwigo here for my part of the mega collaboration. Let's see what T-yong gave us. Okay, so a Abra, which has literally no moves except for Teleport. Also, Abra doesn't learn any moves via level up, so that's gonna be nice. A Magikarp, level 16, so I do have Tackle, so I can level him up if I want to. Not half bad, actually. And finally, a Suicidal Smeargle. Thank you so much. Self-Destruct, Explosion, Memento, and Baton Pass. This is going to be great to level up. So my initial thought was that I just grind up my Magikarp to level 30 so that he would learn Flail, which is actually not that bad of a move. The rules that I got from T-yong was I cannot catch any new Pokemon, so I have to work with these three, and I can also not evolve them, so no Gyarados, no Kadabra for me, sadly enough. But then I tried grinding in the grass, and Magikarp is a pretty weak Pokemon. One of the weakest actually, so his tackles were doing barely any damage. But after about an hour of grinding in the grass, I finally got my Magikarp up to level 30 and I tried the rival fight. I also grinded up my Abra a little bit via switch training together with Smeargle, and now he's level 15 as well. And then I went to the Nugget Bridge to take on our rival YouTube. Ah yes, my arch nemesis. Of course I could have led with my Smeargle and just used Explosion on the Pidgeotto to kill it, but I had to make it hard on myself, and the Pidgeotto just threw a load of sand in my Magikarp's eyes. But that's not the only reason why I led with Magikarp, also because the Pidgeotto could damage me, and that way I would have lower HP, so Flail would do more damage against this later on. So eventually my tiny little fish killed the Pidgeotto, and then his rat came out. I switched into Smeargle, used Explosion, and the Rattata was done. Next up was Charmander, so I switched into my Magikarp, used Flail 3 times, and that was enough to take it out, even though we almost fainted. Last up was Abra, who is no problem because it has no attacking moves, so a single Flail won us the battle. After that I had to clear all of the trainers of the Nugget Bridge and the surrounding round, which took so long to do. It also didn't help that I got stuck on every single hiker because they have rock Pokemon, and I'm literally working with a Magikarp here, so that's pretty bad. But now that my Magikarp reached level 30, I could take on most of the Pokemon with it. So I actually found myself a way to grind up Smeargle. I knew that at level 21 it would learn Sketch, and then I could learn it any move that I want. So after reaching that level, I learned its Sketch, and I tried to learn Double Kick from one of the Nidoran that a trainer had. Now I could take on the hikers rather easily, and Double Kick isn't that bad of a move either. Abra might not be able to learn any moves via level up, but he can learn some TMs. I picked up the TM for Secret Power and learned it to him because that's probably the only thing he's going to be able to use. That's also the only reason why I grinded him up a little bit. Yo, I walked into this guy's house and he turned himself into a Clefairy. Funny I've ever seen. And then I slowly made my way up to the SS Ant to challenge my second rival fight. This time I decided to lead with Smeargle because he's just my best Pokemon now. Even though Double Kick isn't super effective, it did some decent damage on the Pidgeotto, and 4 of my Double Kicks took him down. Next up was Raticate, and after my Smeargle kicked it in the face a few times, that thing was no more. Next up was Kadabra, so I decided to go into Abra and do Abra versus Kadabra, but he disabled my secret power.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
So I had to go into Magikarp to finish off the Kadabra with a tackle and a flail. The last Pokemon was Charmeleon, and because my Magikarp was on this low health, I thought I would stay in to use flail, but he burned me and yeah, there goes my plan. So then I had to switch into my Smeargle, hit him with a few double kicks. I got very lucky that my last one was a critical hit and he was left with 2 HP and then he took me out. So I had to go into Abra and finish this thing off with a secret power. Then I went to Diglett Cave to level up my Smeargle up to level 31 so that he would learn another sketch. After doing that, I just had to find myself a Diglett. He let me get hit with a dig and then sketch that dig off him so that I could use that in the next gym fight. Now with my newly acquired move Dig, I dug a hole into his gym and fought him. But honestly, this battle wasn't really that hard. I just 2-shot his Voltorb with Dig, 1-shot his Pikachu, and I decided why would I make it hard on myself. I just used Explosion on the Raichu to top it off, and I got a critical hit as well to win myself the battle and this part of the challenge. Now that I've successfully completed my part of the challenge, I'm about to screw up Plunk's file and send him over to you guys.
Thanks, Dad. Thank you, Zwigo. Alright then, let's see what Zwigo's left for me. Come on, give it to me.
Oh, I can't believe you've done this.
Oh god, these are the in-game trade Pokemon. Oh no. Alright, we have Nidoran, whose only attacking move is Scratch, so that'll be great. Farfetch'd has decent moves. Mr. Mime is literally useless, it can't actually attack, so that's just wonderful, thank you for that. And we have Jinx, who only has physical moves. This is not going to be fun. Okay, so the main rules that Zwigo gave me was that I can't catch any other Pokemon and I'm not allowed to evolve anyone, so yeah, this is going to be fun. Obviously my goal is to beat the 4th gym, but we actually have to get there first. Just to give you an idea of how bad this was, this is the first trainer I had to fight. Yeah, as you can see, these Pokemon do not want to attack. Like, this is actually ridiculous. Eventually we take down the Oddish and the rest of her team, but that was the first fight of this bit of the run. Also, Nidoran tries to evolve, but as per the rules, I can't let that happen. There's a lot of hikers around here which cause us some problems, but eventually we make it to Rock Tunnel, where there's even more hikers, go figure. It took me a long time to get through Rock Tunnel, but eventually we did make it. And by eventually, I mean after about an hour of trying. We arrive in Lavender Town, but I decide to go straight to Celadon City. While there, I decide to take on Team Rocket first. And that means we have to fight Giovanni and his 2 rock types. He starts with Onix as I lead with Farfetch'd, but I decide to go straight into Nidoran. We have the ability Poison Point, and that is my strategy to win. Eventually we get the poison, and I do some good damage before I decide to swap into Mr. Mime. I try to set up some screens, but Mr. Mime is having none of it. We do manage to set up a Reflect though before the poison takes out Onix. Next up is Kangaskhan, so I decide to stay in and try and get that light screen up. Once again he doesn't listen, but we do manage to encore him into Bite before we go down. I swap in Farfetch'd and we actually get quite lucky as we hit 2 cuts in a row, and the second one is a critical hit which takes out Kangaskhan. Giovanni's final Pokemon is a Rhyhorn, so I swap back into Nidoran. As always it doesn't listen to me and even decides to go for a nap. Eventually though, Rhyhorn does get hit with our Poison Point, which is just what we need to win. I do a little bit of damage before we go down, so I swap back into Farfetch'd. I go for Cut, but he ignores me and goes for Fury Cutter instead, but we do get a critical hit. He hits us with a Fury attack, which really doesn't do that much damage, and the poison is really starting to rack up fast. We hit the Cut this time, which brings it down to a sliver of health, meaning that the poison damage is enough to finish it off. We beat Giovanni and I decide to go and face the rival next. This fight wasn't actually too bad though. Farfetch'd listens to me for once and Pidgeotto goes down in 2 hits, and next up is Gyarados. He lowers our attack with Intimidate, so I decide to swap into Nidoran. We immediately get hit with a Thrash, which activates our Poison Point, which is just what I wanted to happen. Thanks to him using Thrash, he actually hits himself in Confusion a few times, and then the poison is enough to finish it off from there. Execute is out next and I'm able to hit a Scratch before we go down to a Confusion. I swap back into Farfetch'd and go for Peck, and he actually listens to me. Not only that, it's enough to KO as well. Kadabra's out next and Farfetch'd decides not to attack. Next turn we do attack though, and 1 cut is enough to 1-hit KO. His final Pokemon Charmeleon comes out and the good luck continues. I go for Cut, which actually attacks, and then we actually get a critical hit as well, knocking out the Charmeleon and winning us the battle. We saved Mr. Fuji from Team Rocket, and now it's time for the moment we've been waiting for, the 4th gym leader Erica. First up is Victory Bell, and we get lucky right off the bat, hitting a peck which does a lot of damage. She also misses the stun spore, which is great, but she does heal the next turn. I'm able to hit another peck though, which brings it back down to red health. Farfetch disobeys the next turn though, and we get hit with a stun spore. Because of this, it's actually quite a long time before we can attack again, and she's starting to rack up the damage with acid. Eventually we hit though and take out the Victory Bell with one more peck. Tangle is out next and hits a Giga Drain, which hardly does anything, but we do get fully paralysed. We get hit with one more, but this time we're able to hit the peck, and it's enough to take out Tangela from full health. Erica's final Pokemon is Vileplume, so I stay in. We're hit with an acid for decent damage, but Farfetch decides not to attack. We're hit with one more, but this time Farfetch decides to go for cut. It does good damage though, before we go down to one more acid. I send out Jinx and go for pound, but she decides to go for lick instead. We do get hit with a stun spore and then hit with an acid as well. This turn Jinx decides to go for double slap, but it actually hits a few times and it does some good damage, leaving it on a sliver of health. We're hit with one more acid as Jinx decides to go for lick again, but that's enough to finish it off, winning us the badge. Alright, well that's all from me. All that's left for me to do now is roll out the red carpet for our next player, that being Coach Max Entertainment. Take it away.
Hello and welcome to a series of very unfortunate events involving me, Coach Max, as I go down this road to take down Koga. Plunker Boy sent me the save file for my section of the collab, and boy did I start off with a team. The only member of my team is a level 5 Magikarp with the name Go to Daycare. Totally not ominous at all. After reaching the daycare, I find another Magikarp. Yay. So Plunker told me that evolution was allowed, as in his own words, it was kinda necessary. And seeing the Magikarps, yeah, that's about right. But I just mentioned how things are unfortunate and miserable, so we aren't just gonna use a Gyarados get-out-of-jail-free card yet. I was gonna set up some great stuff for Lusterpurgepink, who's got this next bit, and I totally failed to do all of it. I started by changing the nicknames of the Magikarp to Thirsty Boy. Yes, I see the pink symbol. I stand by this name. And Need Some Tea. I was gonna give one of the Magikarps the tea you need to give the guards to get into Saffron, but that's a key item, and you can't give it to a Pokemon to hold. So my dastardly attempts to set up some crazy circumstances basically fell flat right there. So I basically just started raising up these Magikarps. If we want things to be challenges, I'm all about making them way more miserable. This involved finding Metapod and Kakuna in Viridian Forest so that I can run out of splashes and then struggle to death. And boy, I always knew Magikarp was weak, but dadgum! This stupid fish is a train wreck. Even after getting Tackle and Flail, it's just not good. I watched a lot of Clone Wars while I was just grinding. The main thing I did was use the Versus Seeker to just battle groups of trainers over and over to get better XP than wild Pokemon were gonna give. After, I don't know, about 4 hours, I decided to go with a slightly less annoying level up method by putting one of the Carps back in the daycare and just biking back and forth for a long time. I could barely make any dent in the trainers in the gym, so I knew Koga for sure wasn't gonna be a fun fight just yet. I did start setting up the team for Pink by catching a Ditto and naming it Mr. Meatball. Honestly, I thought Chaotic Meatball was up after me in the collab, but like many other things in this experience, I was super wrong. After biking a lot more, and I mean a lot, this guy's leg muscles are probably off the charts. I hit the mid-60s, and I'm not overly proud of this fact, but in the interest of moving the collab along and it not being stuck with me for about a month, I let Thirsty Boy evolve at level 67. Now that it was a Gyarados, things are just so easy, right? That's where you're wrong. I decided to limit myself to just Tackle in the Koga battle. If I just used Flail at low health, things would be way too easy. Even at level 67, using Tackle isn't enough to take down Coughing in one hit. Most of the time, Koga uses a potion though, so nothing too bad ever really happens. But once Muck starts using Minimize, things can get bad. But the main issue is the poisoning. I actually made it to his Wheezing on my very first attempt, but Toxic just absolutely wrecked Thirsty Boy. He tried, Got Wheezing to 1 health, but Thirsty Boy just couldn't finish him off. Next attempt, Coughing poisoned me, so the battle ended at Muck this time. I had phenomenal luck that first run is just what I'm realizing. I grinded up 2 levels from 67, no particular reason, and went back to visit Koga. First time in, Coughing uses Toxic. Nice. Next attempt, badly poisoned. Nice. After that, I didn't get poisoned by Coughing, but then I got poisoned by Muck. But then finally, I got a critical hit on Muck without getting poisoned. Second Coughing, I got a crit on him too. Wheezing poisoned me, tried to end the battle with Smokescreen so I couldn't hit him, but it was no good. Thirsty Boy took down the Ninja Master. Nice job, dude. I bid farewell to Thirsty Boy by letting him go into the Great Wide Open. And Need Some Tea was also there, and I kinda just got rid of him. And now, Mr. Meatball is ready for the next step of the adventure with Lusterpurgepink.
Thanks, Coach Max. Now it's my turn. The 2 rules that were given to me are as follows. 1. I can use another Pokemon besides the one given, but it has to be obtained from the game corner. 2. I cannot evolve my Pokemon. Alright, with that out of the way, now it's time to see the damage these guys have done. Let's see what I've been left with. Oh no. Oh god. No. No. Well, it looks like I have a bit of a mess to deal with. Ditto is a big problem in challenge runs. Why? Unlike other Pokemon that you can overlevel to obliterate the competition or teach moves to give an advantage, Ditto's gimmick prevents it from being this simple. Why? The fight is almost completely dependent on the first Pokemon that the other trainer uses due to Transform being its only move. Not only that, but you're limited to 5 PP of each move the opposing trainer has. It also obtains the stats of the opposing Pokemon, the only thing it maintains being its HP, which is probably the only saving grace of dealing with this Pokemon. There's also the issue of grinding, which is extremely difficult when you're limited to the moves and stats of the wild Pokemon you encounter. I tried to do this with Ditto. I really did. But man, this part of the game is a mess with this Pokemon. Let me break this down. I have 3 major battles to do. Rival Fivel, Giovanni, and Sabrina. Even after grinding my Ditto to level 35, Rival Fivel still gives me a lot of problems. I have to rely on our rival's Pidgeot. In total, there are only 10 power points that are available for moves that will do damage. Wing Attack is fairly viable, but Quick Attack is dreadful. Not only that, but there's the issue of the rival's Pidgeot hitting us before we can even transform, doing significant damage. As if that wasn't bad enough, as if taking this thing down wouldn't be about a 4-hit KO already, the Pidgeot knows Feather Dance. Even if we managed to take down the first Pokemon by the skin of our teeth, we would likely have already been hit by a Feather Dance already, making it impossible for us to take down the next Pokemon in one hit. Gyarados has Intimidate, which lowers our attack further, but we're lucky if we even get a chance to attack that Pokemon. By this point, we're low on health and unable to continue. This isn't impossible, but by god does it suck. I would have to spend hours and hours on getting this purple pile of silly putty up in levels, trying to get enough investment in the HP stat to tank the other Pokemon's attacks. And, friendly reminder, grinding won't get any easier, no matter how high I am in levels. To avoid tearing my hair out in frustration, I decided to take advantage of one of Coach Max's stipulations. I can use a Pokemon that I get from the game corner. At first, I thought about getting Pinsir, but Pinsir is a ton of coins. Besides that, it wouldn't cover all the bases for this part of the game, the rival Fivel having a Pidgeot and a Charizard, plus going up against Giovanni who has Poison and Rock types. So the next best thing I could pick up was Clefairy. Abra is genuinely a subpar Pokemon when it's compared to Clefairy, only surpassing it in speed and special. But honestly, Clefairy is far better defensively, and it having a higher physical attack will give us some advantage against Sabrina, whereas even with Ditto and Abra working together, we'd still be mostly walled. So, to summarize, Clefairy is ultimately the Pokemon that'll be more efficient. With the remaining money, I scooped up as many coins as it took to get Clefairy. Afterward, I obtained the Psychic TM and Saffron for 2 reasons, one of which is to obviously teach Pinky Winky the move, and the other I'll go into later. But let's just say I was already meticulously planning my method to make the next poor sap's life hell. After grinding up to 44, I attempted Rival Fivel once again with the moveset of Psychic, Minimize, Cosmic Power, and Mega Punch, which was obtained from one of the tutors outside of Mount Moon. The obvious goal here is to set up as much as possible on the Pidgeot, and go through the rest of the team at my own pace. To my advantage, I also have Cute Charm, and when the Pidgeot gets infatuated, it significantly decreases the chances of us getting hit. Unfortunately though, I forgot to account for Pidgeot's Whirlwind, and after a ton of setting up, it brought Ditto to the forefront, making me lose my stat changes. I attempted the fight a few more times with Ditto in my party, but the possibility of a whirlwind really disrupted my strategy. I opted to put it in the PC for Rival Fivel. Sorry, Mr. Meatball. Even without the Ditto holding me back though, it was still a tricky fight. By the time I had sufficiently set up, I was usually in the red. I once tried a toxic stall, but there was ultimately no way I could reliably win this fight with an RNG-based strategy. So it was back to the grind, though I can't complain, as Clefairy is much quicker to train than Ditto. Coach Max left behind a lot of bikers on Cycling Road, and there's plenty of poison-type Pokemon in the area, so Pinky Winky was essentially able to sweep through the competition with Psychic and get up in levels relatively fast. At level 50, things went much smoother than before. Sure, it took a try or two to get everything to fall into place, but the extra bit of bulk combined with the extra special attack made Rival Fivel a breeze. In total, I attempted this fight 8 times with varying different strategies. Next is Giovanni. I'm actually surprised this took a couple of tries, but then again, he has that powerful Kangaskhan, so I lost the fight on the first 2 attempts. Even bringing out Mr. Meatball once Pinky Winky fainted didn't do anything for me. Ultimately though, with some RNG luck with Minimize, combined with some bulk from Cosmic Power, Pinky Winky was able to hold her own against Giovanni. Not too much of a fight to sweat, and 3 tries for a successful run is not bad at all. With only Ditto though, it would have been much more difficult, as Giovanni leads with Nidoran, putting it at a significant disadvantage against his Rhyhorn and Nidoqueen. So yeah, it's a good thing I decided to pick up a Clefairy instead. With all that out of the way, it's finally time to take on my gym leader, Sabrina. Sabrina is, well, easy as pie. After setting up some defensive measures, Mega Punch destroys almost all her Pokemon. Mr. Mime likes to put up a fight with defense increasing moves. His mistake though is that he Baton passes to Venomoth, which falls to Psychic. Then the Mr. Mime is absolutely wrecked by Mega Punch and as is Alakazam. One attempt and it's done. Ditto would have been absolute hell though, as we'd have to rely on Kadabra's move pool and stats, and I shiver to think of how this fight would have gone if I would have taken this route. Only Psychic moves? No thanks. And with that, my portion of the video is done. Well, not quite yet. All that time I spent training that blob, the Rival Fivel attempts, the bad RNG, I needed to take it out on someone. From the beginning, I was already thinking of potential ways to mess up the next person, and oh, the stars absolutely aligned for this one. I started out by getting all the available TMs that this Pokemon could learn and selling them, including the ones that were already in our bag. I used up all of the money, then threw away the items I bought with it. I also set Mr. Meatball and Pinky Winky free, leaving only our HM slave. Then I hacked it in. My ultimate creation, a level 31 shiny Celebi, Bold Nature, 0 IVs, only knowing the move Safeguard, which is maxed out in power points. See, the final attacking move that Celebi learns in Gen 3 is Future Sight at level 30. The only 2 moves it learns after that being Baton Pass and Perish Song, 2 useless moves in a single Pokemon run. I considered that Celebi can learn Cut by HM, and that a struggle strategy may also be utilized, and that's why I gave it a Bold Nature to lower its physical attack. The defense gain is pretty much useless, as the next gym leader is Blaine, another reason why I chose Celebi. I know Celebi isn't the weakest Pokemon ever, you know, it being a mythical and all, but I decided to go for more of a troll strategy than anything. So, now I will hand it over to Honest Pokemon Trainer. No stipulations besides the fact that he can only use this Celebi in battle. Good luck, and may Dio have mercy on your soul.
Thanks Pink for the handover, and welcome one and all. It is time for the Honest Pokemon Trainer HBT to come and join the adventure. I welcome you as a viewer, as a new member of the Honest R, of which... Hang on, did I just get bleeped? What the fuck? Swiggo, you it feels like you've just taken my soul away. Well, you've got to play with the cards you've been dealt, so I suppose it's my time to continue this quest. I kept thinking over and over in my head what Pink was going to leave for me to play with, and to be honest, I really didn't expect to be seeing a shiny Celebi armed only with Safeguard. I already had visions of going through the Viridian Forest and fighting wave after wave of Metapods. I checked the box to see if there were any Pokemon that had been left behind, and true enough, there was a Farfetch'd, so at least I had a way to get round Kanto. Celebi didn't learn any attacking moves from this point, so I really couldn't rely on grinding alone to do this. I started thinking about how I was going to do this apart from the struggle method, and I realised that I needed money. I imagined that all the TMs would have been picked up and either thrown away or sold, and I was right because Mr. Psychic had already given a Psychic. I checked the TM case just to see if by chance there was something that had been missed, and there was my first answer to this whole problem. Whilst all the TMs were indeed gone, the HMs were not, and Celebi learns Cut, so now I had an attacking move, although a very one. However, I knew this wouldn't be enough, so I had to go back to my original way of thinking of needing money. I checked the item box to see if there was anything that had been left behind, and sure enough there was, so I could really start building up the finances. With this, I started actually thinking, well, what else could have been missed? So I went to as many places that I could, well in reality, as many places that I could be going, which included Team Rocket's hideout and the Sylph Company. With this done, we had plenty of money, and enough to get us into the Safari Zone. I entered and obtained even more items to get the bank balance even higher, and I also obtained the HM Surf and the Gold Teeth, which allowed me to get the HM for Strength. With my newly refreshed bank balance, I went to Celadon City department store and obtained the TMs for Secret Power and Hyper Beam, giving me more than enough firepower to see this chapter through. Sorry Pink, I broke your challenge. I then catch a shelter so I can use Surf and head south from Pallet Town to reach Cinnabar Island. Reaching the island was a huge part of the mission done, and in reality I could just start grinding in the mansion, beat Blaine, and be done with this chapter and move on with my life. However, I looked out into the water, and I tried to think of what had been done to me and what I could do to Christian. I could leave him with a Pokemon that knows terrible moves like I had received, but I also knew that T-yong had done something similar, so I felt I should be doing something different. And then I had a brainwave and remembered a video that was done by a fellow YouTuber called Pika Spray. He showed that it was actually possible to trap yourself on Cinnabar Island back in the original Red and Blue games, but I wonder how close I could get to actually doing this. So with this in mind, I set my plan in motion. I made sure I fought every trainer I could find in the whole of Kanto to make sure they were taken out. Unfortunately, this wasn't a perfect solution because in this version of the game, trainers can be rebattled thanks to the Versus Seeker, but this will at least slow some progress down. With Surf now in hand, I went to the power plant and went after the legendary bird and my favourite of the three, Zapdos. I had to be careful because 2 drill pecks meant that I'd be dead, but thanks to a double team he couldn't really hit me, and after a few Ultra Balls the big bird was caught and I called him Hope. I next went to the Seafoam Islands and went to fight the mighty Articuno, and I caught that as well and I called it Salvation. So now I have some major firepower behind me, even if technically I can't use them in battle, but someone may use them in the future. I headed back to Cinnabar Island and upset Madra Bread by trading in the Helix fossil to bring Omnionite back to life. I then go to the mansion and clear it out and making sure I obtain the secret key. This next step I really wanted to do naturally, but there was sadly no other way it could be done. I used an action replay code to catch a level 1 Raiden, which surprisingly took a few balls to catch, and I call him Jesus C, which will become apparent later on. With him now in place, things are coming together, but there were still a few more steps to go. As well as fighting all the trainers, I made sure I picked up every item I could think of as a way of reducing options of this succeeding. I headed back to Fuchsia City and met the move deleter, who deleted every HM my Pokemon had, including the cut on Celebi. This was because in this game, if you tried to release any of the Pokemon that knew a HM move, they wouldn't allow themselves to leave you. This is probably to stop the that I was planning to do. Once this had been done, I taught my Celebi the rain dance that I found earlier, and also taught Raiden Surf, and headed south and made my way to the Seafoam Islands again to arrive back in Cinnabar. I then released all the Pokemon on my team, apart from Celebi, Raiden, and my legendary duo. With all this coming to an end, we go through and fight all the lackeys, who are considerably easy considering they have the type advantage. We finally get to Blaine, and my plan is to use Rain Dance and then spam Double Team until I get to finish it with whatever I have. However, this is a right ball ache. I kept getting finished off by the Growlithe and Ponyta over and over again. Eventually I get to the stage where I beat them both and get onto Rapidash and take that out with ease, even with the potion. I get to Arcanine and nearly finished off with a Fire Blast, and it left me with 1 HP. It then became a battle of wits, and with 1 hit resulting in a game over for me. But luck is in my favour and I Hyper Beam the thing to death and complete the battle. However, we are not done yet, my bunch of honest and there are still a few things left to do. I leave the gym and met with Bill, who wants to go to the Sevi Islands, so I tell him to get I then put the final steps into my plan. I get rid of all my money, items, Pokeballs and TMs to make sure there is no way any items can help Christian get out of this. There are HMs available, but I don't think they're going to help in this case. Well, I don't think they are. Next, I say goodbye to Salvation and Hope. Whoopsie! I then say goodbye to Celebi, and I do admit that it hurts me letting this one go. And with this done, the trap is set. I have left Christian with a level 1 Raiden, knowing only Surf and Strength. Going to the Sevi Islands will not help, as there are no items available to sell as far as I'm aware, and the item finder has not yet been obtained. The only way he's going to be able to escape out of this is surfing north to Pallet Town, and with a level 1 Raiden, it is 4 times weak to anything he may come across, and Raiden is so slow, running away from battle should be near impossible. So yeah, literally he's going to have to walk on water to avoid any battles. See what I did there? Jesus, walking on water? I'm a genius. If he does make it back to Pallet Town, he's completed my challenge, and then he has to grind to level 50 odd, which will still be an absolute ball ache. And with that, I look out into the water and wondered if I'd been too cruel. Was it truly fair what I just done, or was it a step too far? I mean, I know I'm a horrible person, but I really could have wrecked this for everybody, as I know the possibility for him making it across the water unscathed is very slim, and I might have wrecked what was really an enjoyable challenge. But then I thought, nah, f it, I'm off for a beer. See you later. Good luck, Christian. This is HBT. Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody! This is Christian Pokemon Champion here for my part. Let's find out how badly HPT messed with me. So for my part of the challenge, HPT gave me 3 added statutes. 1, I can only use a Pokemon that they gave me on my team. He left me a level 1 Rhydon. His name is Jesus C. You know me so well. 2, I can't use save states. And 3, I can't rest on land. What do you mean? HPT! Basically, we have a level 1 Rhydon who can swim with Surf. Game Freak is weird. So I have the ability to go to another area to train them, but in between me and the first route is this gigantic ocean, full of Pokemon who can destroy me in one hit, and whom I can't escape due to my low speed. Just in case, I did take a look at all the items I had. None. Let's do this thing! Dealing with the ocean issue, interestingly enough, didn't take too much time. I saved on the mainland, and just went forward toward my hometown, hoping I wouldn't encounter a tentacle. 7 attempts and we're home. Once we're on the other side, we can begin the process of training Rhydon. In true CPC fashion, it is a perfect time for us to do a training montage. By the way, just a heads up, during the training montage, I do go to multiple places around Kanto to battle all the trainers that have not already been fought, to both take their money and prevent any further Poketubers to doing the same thing. Love you guys. Now let's begin! So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you're broke. Your love life DOA. Bye-bye, everybody!
Like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year.
But I'll be there for you.
When the rain starts to pour,
I'll be there for you.
Like I've been there before.
I'll be there for you.
'Cause you're there for me
too. That was not embarrassing at all. Now that Rhydon has gotten to a comfortable level, I feel it is time to talk to Bill. Whee! I literally got poisoned from this trainer's Nidorino not once, not twice, but 6 times. Can we beat this bird on fire? Yes. I like that the PC says, the usual PC services aren't available. It's like the game is telling you, CPC, would you like to play a game? You can't leave until you do. So apparently we have to save a girl. I think that's what the game is telling us to do. I'll be honest, I don't really read any of the text. This is the part of the game where I always get lost. Every time, I have to talk to everyone in the 3 stinking islands until I end up beating this part of the game. Luckily, I had a vague memory of going to that building before. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten lost anyway. Oh hey, it's the girl we're supposed to save. Wait. Forgot the Pokeball over there. Give me a sec. Remember when I said I usually get lost here? I got lost again. What am I supposed to do? Oh, I just needed to talk to this guy. Again. Why didn't you just give me the item in the first place when I was with you? At this point of the game, Rhydon is strong enough to beat anybody. Lucky us. That means that once we save the kid, save Bill's machine, and save the day, we can now go back to the final gym to beat Giovanni. For the last time! Maybe! Probably not. I will probably do another challenge in Fire Red once again in the future. So I'll be seeing you later, Gio. With his first Rhyhorn, our ironic surf was enough. I had to use Horn Drill on both Nidoqueen and King because none of my other attacks were enough. Another ironic surf on another ironic Rhyhorn. Dude, just get yourself a Rhydon already. And Doug lost to a final and lucky Horn Drill. This was done on my 90th attempt. Kinda high, but I hate training. Now I pass my baton. Get it? That's a Pokemon joke. Kinda. To Bonbons. Good luck, bruh.
Thanks for passing it over, Christian. What's up, YouTube? Feels weird to say that more than once in a video. Anyways, my name is Gray, and it's time for me to see what amalgamation of horrors Christian left me. Oh, Jeebus Chrysler. I mean, I'm a little thick. What about items left in the PC? Nope. Alright then, I'll just have to slog through the grass to look at a Pokemon Center. And it's an HM slave. Well, it's a pretty good one at that. Oh, come on! It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Alright, fine. Let's see the movesets of these chonks. Oh my god, I'm not! No, not gonna do it. I will not be doing this. Nope. Wait. Just need to use Pseudo-Wudo, you say? Not necessarily with that moveset! I'm right at Victory Road. Oh my god, Christian, you goddamned mad lad! You gave them sticks? You foolish man! I'm so glad I obsessively play Pokemon games. Christian told me I'm not allowed to use TMs or HMs, and there were no move tutors available. Long story short, I talked to the group about using one Mon in the challenge that isn't Pseudo-Wudo, and they said yes. My plan was coming together. The times I'd be using it in battle wouldn't even technically be part of the challenge itself, but I'd be able to use a few slip-ups to turn my run into a pleasant walk at worst. The first thing I did was sell those sticks that each Pseudo-Wudo was holding for 100 Pokédollars a piece. 6 Pseudo-Wudo means 6 sticks, and that meant 600 Pokédollars or 3 Pokeballs. Next, I traveled to Cerulean City and went south, capturing a Meowth, my exception Mon. This would let me turn those 6 sticks into tens of thousands of Pokédollars. I grinded up Meowth a crap ton, and during this, I realized it had pick up more profits. After grinding it up for an insane amount of time, I went and snagged the amulet coin to make the endgame for the rest of the peeps more difficult. I was gonna take leftovers too, but I honestly forgot about it while getting the amulet coin. After I kept grinding for forever using the Versus Seeker, which makes trying to remove all money pointless, I bought tons of Great Balls and caught myself tons of Paris. See, Paris has a 50% chance of holding a tiny mushroom and a 5% chance of holding a big mushroom in the wild. Catching a ton of these rapscallions meant that I could get a ton of mushrooms, be them tiny or big, and use them over at the Sevi Islands, which you can go back to via the Seaport in Vermilion to remind Pseudo-Wudo of its optimal moveset thanks to the move relearner over there. I did so, and from here it was just a matter of grinding Pseudo-Wudo up in Victory Road, beating every trainer there, and then more grinding until I got Pseudo-Wudo up to level 100. I took on the league, the only trouble being Lorelei's Jinx getting freeze hacks on Pseudo-Wudo. Otherwise, she and Bruno were both clean sweeps. My part being completed, it was time to figure out which ring of hell to send Breph to. It took me some thought if I could... It's all yours, Breph. Enjoy.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's the Breph, and I'm bringing you my part of this collaboration special. You join me now, having picked up the save file from the hands of the mean Bonsly, and I say mean for a very valid reason. While I was initially excited, that swiftly turned to dread as I opened up the party and saw he'd given me 3 level 100 Pokemon. A Rattata, not just any Rattata, a top percent Rattata who has no moves that can attack Agatha whatsoever, a Beldum with 5 takedown PP, and a Zubat with Whirlwind only. He'd given me a couple of full restores, he'd given me 99 potions and a bright powder. The 666 tiny mushrooms are pretty much useless to me because the rules I were given were pretty simple. No items in battle and no leaving the Elite Four. That meant that in the likely event that I failed to defeat her first time, I had to reset at her feet and go from there again. I wasn't even allowed to the main lobby of the Indigo Plateau. Something tells me here that Bonsly's given me an RNG challenge, but the likelihood of this one being possible is slim to none. Nevertheless, I give it a go and learn very quickly that while the Gengar sets up double team, I can waste 5 takedown PP. However, I have nothing that is strong enough to be able to do this challenge. As it stands, this is impossible. Don't get me wrong, I tried everything. I tried leading with Zubat to deplete Whirlwind, I tried leading with Rattata, reducing its defense with Tail Whip. Heck, I even tried getting off an explosion with the level 2 Geodude on Arbok. It didn't work. Nothing was working. I even sent the save file off to another challenge runner who pretty much made the exact same progress I did, being Sweet FA. And when I asked Bonsly for advice, he said, just use HMs. Unfortunately, the only one that he'd left me that would be any use was Surf and he'd only given me a level 2 Feebas that you physically can't switch train. And with that, I realised that under his current rules this wasn't possible, but with a little bit of setup, it may very well be. So Bonsly, congratulations, you have beaten me, and I don't enjoy saying that. While technically you haven't broken any rules because we did all agree that it just had to be possible, and on paper it is, you have defeated the Breph. But you made a mistake. I'm going to break your no leaving the Elite Four rule, and I allow Agatha to knock me out. Because you've given me Geodude and you've given me Feebas, and those two respectively can each learn both of the TMs I need to escape Victory Road. So that's exactly what I do, and I then begin the task, the arduous task, of having to level up absolutely everything. So once I've done all of that grinding and evolved Geodude into Graveler and Magikarp into Gyarados, I head over to the Celadon Game Corner and buy myself, with the available money, a couple of TMs of Ice Beam. I teach one to Feebas and I teach the other to our level 100 Rattata. The last thing I do before heading back to the league is going and getting the item finder from the aid and collecting both sets of leftovers to be used as held items. With all of that done and our movesets finally complete, I head back to the league. Agatha proved to be easy enough now. She went from being an impossible task to practically being a standard Pokemon battle. You use the moves that hit the hardest, switch if needed, in this case into Graveler to deal with Arbok, and tanking it on minuscule HP, and with that, she goes down. Lance is the final member of the Elite Four, and his team can be a little bit tricky in a normal playthrough. We do exchange hits with Gyarados and ultimately lose Beldum, but when that thing falls, it becomes a walk in the park. Ice Beam on Rattata comes in more than useful in taking down his strongest Pokemon, Dragonite, even getting a nifty little freeze. Although we do eventually lose the Rat as well, we easily finish up with Zubat and are left on only 3 HP. The champion is all that's left for me to be dealing with. I lead off with Rattata, and that thing is able to destroy Pidgeot and even survive a Psychic from Alakazam. It cements itself as a true top percent Rattata, as it even manages to freeze Exeggutor. Joey, if you're watching, take notes, boy. The fight becomes a bit of a slog when Gyarados comes in and takes out both Feebas and Zubat, but ultimately it falls as well, and that leaves the last man. Not knowing what it is, I switched into Graveler and discover it's a Charizard. Needless to say, it was eventually left up to Gyarados, and a couple of serves later, we've beaten our section of the challenge. But this challenge as a video is not over here, because I am about to set up the save file to send over to the man, the myth, the legend, Aarantula. Now, in discussion with Aarantula, I learnt that he enjoys roughing it in his challenges, so that gives me all the motivation and idea I need. Building off of Bonsly's RNG challenge done wrong, I decide to go for something a little bit more fun. Once I'm done getting rid of all of his items and money, I leave Aarantula a single shiny Metapod named Roughing It that only knows Metronome. That's in his party at least. I did tell him about the HM slave I left in the PC, but what I neglected to mention was that in the back of that PC, I'd left him a couple of other Pokemon that would make him have a lot easier of a time. The question is now, did Aarantula try to beat the entire game using only a Metropod? Or did he dive deeper into the PC to the very back boxes to find an easier ride? Well, for that I'm gonna have to wish him all the best of luck and hand over now to Aarantula.
Greetings to you and welcome back to this huge collaboration that we are all doing. I am Aarantula and I am number 11. I'm continuing from where the Breph left off as he was number 10, and we are going to get into it. And when we look at what Pokemon we are entrusted with, we have a single Metapod and an Armaldo that only knows HM moves, and he doesn't have either Cut or Waterfall, so we have to catch something else to use in order to actually progress the story. Wonderful. And I only have Metronome, so my stats are terrible, and this is going to be These are the rules that the Breph wants me to go by. And it's showtime! So the first thing I tried to do was find if there was any way to get more money. And the Breph did a pretty good job in making sure I really didn't have very many resources. There were no berries, there were no TMs, there were no items whatsoever, and it looked like I really did not have a lot to work with. I tried to look if I had the item finder as well. I didn't, which is weird because when I didn't see I had the item finder, I thought that no one picked it up, but apparently it was just removed from the bag. As well as the freaking super rod. I don't understand that at all. So I went to the game corner because I figured maybe there are some coins to be found on the ground here still, and sure enough, yeah, they all are still here, which goes to show that my partners really be slipping in this collaboration. I get a smoke ball, and this is going to be useful because there's really no reason to fight any wild Pokemon, especially when there are so many Fearow to be found in 5 Island, and I don't want to have to worry about getting hit by super effective flying type moves, so this will save me a lot of heartache in the long run. So I go to one island and I fight the grunts there in front of Mount Ember with my Metapod, and here's the problem with only knowing freaking Metronome. I can often kill myself, and it's a freaking annoying thing to have to happen to you when you can just self-destruct or explode and lose your entire fight just like that. Maybe there were some times I got lucky with like sheer cold or something like that, but unfortunately I don't really have any proof of that anymore because the file that I had for some reason got corrupted and I no longer had that video, which is a shame because I was recording for basically over 3 freaking hours and I had nothing to show for it anymore. But enough about me, let's talk about you guys. Who's your favorite challenge runner to appear in this entire collaboration? If you ask me, it's the person I'm going to pass this file to after we're done with my section. Stay tuned to find who that is. Anyway, we've got plot stuff. We get the Ruby, we go to 4 Island to help Lorelei, we go to 6 Island to get the Sapphire that gets taken by the freaking scientist who wants to pawn it off, and yada 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 yada. Okay, now at the Rocket Hideout, we have a really big freaking problem. Now this Rocket admin gave me so much freaking trouble, I could go in for hours on how many times I lost, because that is just how long I spent trying to beat her and failing every single time. But all that is important for you to know is that I would need ungodly luck with Metronome to not get wiped out in just a few turns. I was able to reach her final Pokemon, but that was literally as far as I could go. Even if I could beat her, there was literally no way I'd be able to beat the admin right after her. He has a Houndoom which is faster than me, and it is able to one-hit KO me with Flamethrower. What? Now, I am aware that there is a Laxin Sense that you can find at the Lost Cave on 6th Island, but let's be realistic, that is not going to be enough to help me win this fight. And I'm sitting here just dumbfounded thinking, how on the earth does Breph think I can do this with a Metapod that actively will be too slow to outspeed a freaking Houndoom? He had to have given me something. So I went back to my boxes, I checked more of the boxes too, and then I saw it. There's a Kakuna and a Pikachu too. So yes, after 2 whole freaking hours of trying to use a single freaking Metapod with the lowest possible stats I could possibly have, using only Metronome, which oftentimes would frequently mean that I also would kill myself because of self-destruct, explosion, memento, or whatever, and an absolutely ungodly number of attempts, which I'm going to declare as 666 just because it's Christian Pokemon Champions collaboration, I won on my very next attempt. And before you mention trying Struggle, don't worry, I did try that. And unfortunately, not only do I not do enough damage, but I also take way too much damage from Struggle Recoil and from being attacked at the same freaking time. The Rocket admin after her, however, had a Houndoom, and the only way I would be able to win this fight is if I was able to get lucky with the Houndoom missing with Flamethrower. Thankfully, I have the Laxin Sense, so after enough attempts, it does happen. Fortunately, the scientist immediately after those 2 admins was easy, because I was able to win in my first attempt because of the Kakuna having such good coverage options. Now then, the Elite 4 rematches. We can start that now with Lorelei. Now, I neglected to use the Pikachu that I was given because I thought that it'd be too strong for the grunts before, but then I saw myself unable to beat Lorelei because I could not get past her freaking Jinx, because I'm not going to depend on Metronome the whole freaking time, and that Psychic is an OKO against my Kakuna. It also hits my Metapod really freaking hard, and she's not even weak to Psychic, and it would also necessitate me using that freaking Metapod for the Dugong, which you already know how that's going to go. But it didn't take me until at least attempt number 11 to realize this. And you know, since Pikachu is an electric type, of course it's going to do a lot of freaking damage to a lot of her water type Pokemon. So after a whopping like 14 attempts, I'm able to win. Next up is Bruno, who just makes me really freaking sad, if I'm being real with you all. Okay, first of all, his leading Steelix goes Earthquake, so Pikachu could not even hope to break through a double kick. It also does not have any weaknesses to anything that my Kakuna has. So would you believe it or not, I needed Metapod here. She metronomes and gets a Blaze Kick out of it, which is enough for me to switch in Pikachu, and she survives the Earthquake that comes afterwards, and Double Kick will whittle it down enough, whereas it'll actually knock out the Steelix before it gets full restore thanks to the burn. Everything else I use Thunder on to knock them out in a single hit, and I have the Kakuna whittle down the Steelix just enough, whereas Pikachu could then come in to Double Kick and knock it out. And that was 15 attempts. Well, that sucked, but my part is over. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and give this save file to R9 Beats. But first, before I do that, let's give him something to work with. I gave him some dogs, I gave him some items, I gave him some interesting stipulations with some of his team, and I think I'm going to give you a good freaking show. R9 Beats, the stage is yours.
Alright, man, it's finally time for our turn to find out what we got. Alright, I can't wait to find out what Aarantula left for us. Oh my god. What is this? What did he do to us? How are we supposed to do this? I wasn't expecting. Honestly, it's not really that bad. Just take one look at you. It's doable. It's definitely doable.
Alright, it's time to jump right into this and see just exactly what Aarantula left us to deal with. And yes, that's correct. I am playing on Fire Red. Leaf Green just ain't it, Chief. So, starting things off, it's an old flashback of what Aarantula did in the past saves, and it looks like he had a hard time with the Metapod and Kakuna, and had a very fascination with switching them. So, before sending me over the save file, Aarantula did say, I hope you like dogs. And that's the only hint I have going into this, so let's just see what we got here. And it looks like he left us some Doges, alright. We got Bad Dog, the Houndour, then we have Arcanine Beats, the trusty good boy of the channel, followed up by Mad Dog level 69, I see. Nice one. And the last of the canines, we have Arts and Dogs, with no attacking moves, only Curse, Soft-Boiled, Spore, and Baton Pass, huh? And this last one he left us, yeah, I don't really think it's a dog, but we got Aikyo the Chansey with no attacking moves also, except for Counter and Self-Destruction. Honestly, I'm not gonna complain, it's actually not that bad, but he also left us some notable items, but I won't be getting into that until after we defeat this old hag here. I don't know, I'm not taking those items yet. Starting off with Arts and Dogs against her Gengar, wait a second, did this guy really turn off battle animations?
Hey, stop! Why?
So I made sure to turn it off and change the border while I'm at it, because, you know, why not? Well, actually, I guess this is a good time to get into the rules while we're at it. I cannot leave Lance or Agatha's room except to move forward onto the Elite Four. The battle style is set. Okay, I'm not really sure what that one is, but I'm sure we'll find that one out pretty soon. I can only evolve Pokemon if they're Chansey, and I absolutely have to. And if this guy thinks I have to, there's no Chansey, buddy. Okay, back into the battle. We open up with Arcanine Beats and Flame Wheel Agatha's Gengar, which barely survives enough to put us to sleep with Hypnosis. And after debating whether or not we should switch, we end up taking a Psychic, and I realized that we can take a few of these things, so I end up waiting, and then after the third turn, we wake up and take out Gengar with the second Flame Wheel. Next up is Arbok. And oh no, I can't switch. I guess it's a set battle. I guess that's what it is. Well, spoiler alert, this is actually attempt number 6, so I already knew that Arbok had Earthquake, so I get Growlithe right out of there and go into Chansey, and we go for a counter, a move that only works unless you take damage from specific move types. And this Arbok goes for not 1, not 2, not 3, not even 4, not even 5, no, 6 double teams, baby. And that's right, now his evasive is so high, when he eventually does hit us, we end up missing. But eventually, after a painful back and forth encounter, we do take out the Arbok with counter. Her Crobat also goes down to 1 single counter from Chansey. Next out is our second Gengar, who I knew we were unable to hit with Chansey, so we just go right into Mad Dog and hit it with the Thunder before being taken out ultimately. And go into Arcanine Beats the Gengar Slayer to take it out. And last is her Mischievous, who we easily take out with 1 Overheat from Arcanine Beats. After this battle, I end up checking what items we have to work with, and it looks like we have Magnet to power up Mad Dog's Thunder, Charcoal for either Bad Dog or Arcanine Beats' moves, and lastly, 4 rare candies and Ether and 1 max potion. I use the rare candy to revive our Mad Dog, and RIP level 69. And then I give the max potion to Mad Dog as well, as he will be very crucial in the upcoming battle. And it's time for Lance, and this fight alone took 2 real-time hours to get correct. And we end up opening up with Mad Dog and Land of Thunder on Gyarados. He then goes into Aerodactyl, so I switch out into Arts and Dogs and to take an Earthquake and then put it to sleep. So I can go into Chansey, Soft Boil our health back up while it's asleep, and then eventually counter to take it out. Next up is Lance's first Dragonite, and after a few back and forth exchanges, counter eventually takes out Dragonite as it Earthquakes us. Fun fact, Earthquake from any Elite Four Pokemon, which almost every single one of these Pokemon have have it for some damn reason. One hits my dogs. Next up is Kingdra, and we switch out to Mad Dog, who is almost taken out by one Hyper Beam. So knowing it will have to recharge, we go for a Thunder, and miss. End up landing the second one though before being taken out. We go into Chansey, and after a horrifyingly god knows how many dragon dances later from Kingdra, we finally take it out, leaving only Dragonite left. But it won't stop using moves that I'm unable to counter, so my big brain goes into Growlithe and attempt to hit it with Dig. I don't know what I was thinking, and then we go into Houndour and use Hidden Power, which must have been ice or something because it takes out really easily. And luckily I didn't even know what it was, I just took the chance. And Lance is now completed, and we only have our rival left, who Lance disclosed with me is YouTube? It can't be. No, it can't be. Not the single person responsible for checking my channel's life. It's personal now. We manage our HP outside of battle and use some rare candies to revive our fallen heroes, and even teach some new moves to Chansey and Growlithe via HMs. And it's time to seek revenge on YouTube, who opens up with a Heracross, so we open up with Bad Boy, who is now holding a charcoal, so with that, he is just barely able to take out Heracross with the flamethrower. Next up is Gyarados. Bad Dog just goes for a bite, and huh? It actually flinched. And again! Wow! This is crazy! This can't be! Right after we're about to take it out, he healed it up. And somehow, some way, we still end up taking out with Bite after a few more flinches. And I was fully ready to take it out with Thunder, but I'll take that. Next up is his Charizard, who we hit with Hidden Power and just barely put a dent in that thing before being taken out. So we go right into Mad Dog and take it out with one Thunder. And weirdly enough, sometimes when I would try this battle, Mad Dog wouldn't even listen to me. So I'm not really sure why. Oh, it's because we only have 7 badges somehow. Oh, nice one, guys. Good one. He then goes into Godzilla Tyranitar itself and starts up a Sandstorm, so we go for an Iron Tail and do a disappointingly low amount of damage before being taken out ultimately. I then go into Smeargle because I had no answer for this Tyranitar, so my plan was just to put it to sleep and then use Curse as many times as I could and Soft Boil just to stay alive. Now with all the buffs from Curse, we Baton Pass into Chansey, passing down all of our buffs. And even with that, Rock Smash does barely anything. But thankfully, Rock Smash does drop the defense of Tyranitar, and eventually we are strong enough to take it out. YouTube then goes into Alakazam, and using the same tactic of just healing and using strength over and over again, we eventually take out Alakazam, but we run out of Soft Boils completely. And now it's YouTube's last Pokemon, and we are out of Soft Boils and paralyzed, and we only have one real chance, and it says use self-destruction and take him out, like he is Thanos and we are Iron Man. But he outspeeds us to no surprise and ends up killing Chansey before we could kind of do it ourselves, leaving Arcanine Beats, who seals the deal with Overheat. And damn, you didn't have to go that hard, buddy. It's a crit! And that's it. It looks like Arcanine Beats is the only living Pokemon after defeating YouTube itself.
Okay, so that was that, everyone. We managed to complete the challenge. It was quite a bumpy road, not gonna lie. Some people are probably holding some grudges against other people, but hey, that's something that we can solve once we maybe do this again sometime in the near future if you guys want to see more of these kinds of videos. We all came together in this difficult time to make this video for you guys to entertain you while you're sitting inside covering yourself up from the nasty virus. And we all hope that you're staying healthy and doing well in these difficult times, and that's why I want to ask you guys to subscribe to all these amazing people. Their links are in the description. Most of them make Pokemon challenges as well, so if you're subscribed to me for the challenges, you should probably subscribe to them too. We thank you for watching, and as always people, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. We were the 12 pack, and we'll see you guys next time.